Good evening and welcome to another edition of Ziggy's Rants. I've come on this afternoon because I wanted to get a couple of things off my chest about recent events, and I'm talking about the Wilma Brown Labour candidate who's been suspended by the Labour Party for liking and retweeting uh, some posts on Twitter. Now, mine was one of them, and I know the other people that are involved as well. And we've been labelled far right, extremists, Islamophobic, racist, you name it, we've been called it. And but this is being expected from the SNP and from Humza. This kind of tactic is what I've been expecting to come along during the election year, since we knew there was going to be an election at some time this year. Why? Because Humza and the SNP can't defend their record in office. They can't defend education, health service, the austerity on local councils, the potholes, the state of our cities, the corruption, the ferries. They've got no policies. The GRR, the hate bill, the bottle scheme, all disasters, all costing the country literally billions of pounds, and they can't defend themselves on that record. So what do they have? They fall back to the nationalist playbook of, well, the far right. Anyone who's against us is far right. Anyone who attacks us is far right. Anyone who has a go at Humza is a Islamophobic. This is the issue we're going to find going forward this year, and I knew that. My disappointment is with Labour and the media. I start with Labour. Labour, by suspending Wilma Brown, by the statements they've made without even knowing the facts, is a real worry and a real disappointment for me, because they're cowering down to the SNP. They're not standing up for the right, for the Scottish people. They are more bothered about how it looks because of the accusations made rather than defending it. And the SNP have got rid of a candidate that was in a leading race and was ahead of the polls, and they've got rid of him. They've got rid of that candidate, the SNP. They've targeted that candidate and they've got rid of him. For what? Liking a few posts, retweeting a few posts that were nothing. They were not racist. They were not Islamophobic. They were not far right. Far from it, to be honest with you. My politics is centre right politics. I've never been far right in my life, and I take. But I expected that from the SNP. I expect them kind of attacks. What I don't expect is from Labour to just suspend a candidate. What does it say to everyone else? Well, SNP will attack someone else now. And what does that, what going forward, what does that tell you? That Labour are just going to cow down to the SNP as usual, as they've always done. Labour are in the position of strength in Scotland at the moment. They're ahead in the polls. They're in the position of strength in the country. But they keep backing down. They keep cowering down to popular, to these parties, to Humza, and it's quite shocking. And is that the way forward Labour are going to go? Because that is a bad attitude to have in my book. Now, the media, BBC ran this story, STV ran this story, the National ran this story, it was in the papers. And the standard of journalism, they're lazy. It's lazy journalism. Not one of them had a look to find out what was actually going on, get the other side's opinion, find out who these people are, who we are. Not one of them. They just ran with the story because it sounded great, and Humza was happy to repeat this, and the SNP were happy to repeat this. The person that wrote this on Twitter, did they go through his account? Because I can tell you now, I went through his account, and some of the things on his account, quite disgusting. Some of the language he uses, some of the things he's been saying. I'm not going to repeat it on here, but I think if you go on Twitter, if you've been on Twitter and you've seen this, go through his account, see what he's been writing, he's been saying. But that was okay, because it was a good story for them. Far right. Now, and the BBC used that kind of language. STV used that kind of language. The National did a big piece on it. And this guy's all over the place. He's an SNP member, and he's saying he wants to hold his constituency, someone who's running in his constituency, accountable. Well, he's not even in that constituency. He doesn't live in that area. So this was an orchestrated attack, and it worked. And it worked. He got his publicity, loving it. You can see it on Twitter. He loves it. He got his publicity. He got his 5 minutes of fame, and the BBC and STV fell for it and ran with it, rather than having a look to see what his account was, what the other side, who the other side are. They called us far right. They don't know me. They don't know the other people on Twitter. They haven't gone through. They haven't had a look or asked me my views, or come to me and said, "You've been accused of this, that, the other. What have you got to say about it?" None of us have. No one's got to us and asked our side. It's sloppy journalism, and it's a disappointment the way. And if this is the way forward, then it's going to be a hate-filled, real nasty general election. We're not even got to the general election. There's not even a date yet, and we've got these kind of tactics. So it's going to be an interesting watching. But I will not put up with being called a racist, Islamophobic, far right. I will not put up with that. And if I see that from any kind of reporter, if I get named by any kind of reporter, any news outlet, or this carries on at Twitter, I will be taking legal action on this, because I'm not going to be put up with my name being dragged through the mud, and others as well, and other people that I know. So is my rant. Please leave your comments, what you think about this situation. Subscribe, because the more subscribers I've got, the bigger reach I've got. Like as well. If you like it, please thumbs up. All helps. And till next time, take care.